Hello everyone, welcome to this first session of the series Laces and Zentangle or Lacy Zentangles. Yeah, so basically this session is about drawing laces and combining laces with Zentangle or enhancing the look of our tangles using using laces. Yeah, or maybe they will complement each other. At times tangles will enhance the look of laces, at times laces will enhance the look of tangles. Yeah, so basically we'll be combining both, right? And let's get started. As I mentioned, I will be working on an apprentice size black tile just because laces look quite pretty on black, right? When drawn with white jelly roll. That's the only reason for selecting black tiles. You can grab a piece of black paper. Just ensure that it is of good quality, acid free, preferably between 240 to 300 GSM, right? So let's get started right away. So I'm just going to start with a rough string here. So I'm using my white pencil and just drawing a rough double line here, and then I'm going to add a semicircle like this, again just for my reference, right? And probably one more. This is just for drawing a reference for my drawing. Yeah, so once we have done that, kind of a string that we'll be using for drawing. Yeah, so I'll be picking up my O8 now. So let us get started and draw our lines. So I'm drawing a straight line here, and you can also use your 10, or you can use your O8 and add a little boldness to the line, whichever way you are comfortable. Yeah, if you are not comfortable redoing the line again and again, use your 10 and add a little boldness to the line like this. Yeah, and then I'm going to be using a tangle called eek in Zentangle. Yeah, so eek is a tangle which goes like a cursive E, series of cursive E, something like this, right? So you can draw it in both directions. You can draw it like this also, and it is called eek, right? So I'm going to use a version of that tangle here first. So I'm starting here. Just make sure that your nib is clear, and then going down, right? And then again going up, again coming down, basically looping series of E's using that loop kind of thing to create a lace. Yeah, so very familiar stroke in Zentangle. Yeah, so I've done that. Now I am again going to redo the line. As I mentioned, there are some bold designs and there are some, you can always use your 10, right? It will give you that much required boldness. So switching nibs here again and moving to my 10. Yeah, and adding some boldness because this will be my main design. Yeah, so take your time and nicely redo the line, or you can use the 10 only, right? Whichever way you are comfortable. So we will be switching pens frequently here, sometimes the background design, sometimes the main design. So keep all the pens close to you, right? So I'm going to draw one more line here above this line using my 10 only. like this. Yeah, and then add some orbs inside, just the way I showed you in my introductory session. We are drawing the same thing here. Yeah, so add those orbs. Take your time and slowly add the orbs. Now I'm going to switch pens again, move to my O8, or you can use your O5, that will be an even finer nib. And now start adding this grid line. Remember I mentioned oblique, a simple mesh like grid inside, fine grid. So that is what I am doing here. So don't haste up, take your time, slowly add all the lines slanting in one direction, close to each other. Lines need not be perfect, they need not be absolutely straight. All is good. Just go with the flow and draw some slanting lines from one end to the other end. Yeah. So once we are done that, again rotate your tile and draw lines in the opposite direction to form a mesh or a square grid, but a fine one. So you can see how changing the nib size makes one bold and the other one as if it is a finer mesh in the background, a weaving. Right, so slowly add lines in the opposite direction. Don't haste up. You can draw this with colored jelly rolls also. We will try one or two tiles with colored pens also, but nothing like black and white. Yeah, at least it's my favorite. Yeah, so slowly take your time and give the background mesh like texture to your lace. Right, and now I'm just going to interconnect. As I mentioned, there is nothing hanging in the air, right? So they will be all interlinked, interlaced with a stitch. So you have to connect them. Slowly. If the orbs had been bigger, I would have given a woven feel to them also. I'll show you in some other tile. We have just started the series. Yeah, we will explore, we will innovate, we will try new things. So once we are done with that, now it is up to you. You can leave the lace part here itself, right? And I'm going to do some tangling below. Yeah, so again switching pens, my 10, right? And then I'm just going to add a double line. And then we'll see what do we want to do below, right? So we will leave it there. Now I'm coming to the upper part. So I'm going to pick up my O8 again and draw a tangle called Gorgeous. Yeah, so it is a Zentangle original, and I'm going to start right away and draw the tangle Gorgeous. right? So this is a reverse S kind of a shape, and then add a thicker aura, and then again add a thinner aura, take it to the top, again add a thicker aura, again alternate thinner aura, take it to the end, again a thicker aura, again a thinner aura, take it to the end, again a thicker aura. So it's almost like a gourd or onion, whatever you want to call it. So this is the tangle. Yeah. So let us draw one more. What is that? Excuse me. Yeah, sorry for that. So once again I am switching my pen to 10 because it will be nice to use it for filling. So the wider sections that you created for the tangle gorgeous, just ink it nicely. Like this. Yeah. Again I am going to ink all the sections and leave the thinner sections as it is. Right. So take your time and just ink each of the section. Don't haste up. Jelly roll can be a little fussy at times, so you need to be patient. Keep cleaning its nib. Preferably hold it straight and don't press it hard. Yeah. So we have drawn one. I think we can draw one more. So again I will switch to my 08 and draw one more, probably like this, sitting in leisure, enjoying its time. Yeah. So tiles actually speak. Yeah. They have a story behind them. They reflect your state of mind. They have a lot to teach you. They have a lot to talk about. They have moods. Yeah. So actually your tile reflects your state of mind at any point of time. And that's how Zentangle is a therapy. Yeah. You choose tangles that come to you at that point of time, and somehow those tangles relate to your state of mind at that point of time. The shading, the color combinations you use, everything. That's why art is a therapy, and it is entirely up to you how do you use it to your benefit. Right, so I'm doing the same exercise. Make sure you don't put your hand on the wet jelly roll, it will smudge, so you have to be careful. Yeah, so we can even it out later if you want to. So I have done two gorgeous here. Yeah, now in between spaces we can fit in some other tangle. For example, I'll go with some simple printums here with little weight on one side. So draw the curve but come back and add a little weight come back, add a little weight, that's weighted printums. Yeah, again add one more, draw the curl, come back, add a little weight, come back, add a little weight, come back, add a little weight. Yeah, you don't have to really lift your pen, right? So let's add one or two more here. Simple spirals, one stroke. I'm using my 08 now. I used my 10 for filling up the gorgeous. Otherwise 08 is a good enough size. Yeah, again I'll add one or two more here. Yeah, you can add one here, hidden one. Yeah, then you can add some flux. So choose tangles that come to you easily. We are trying to relax here, enjoy, and at the same time explore something new, right? So it's important that you enjoy what you do, otherwise there is no fun. Yeah, so this is just a suggestion. As I keep saying, choose tangles of your choice, choose tangles that come to you easily, choose your go-to tangles. So at this time I feel like adding flux. I really like the flow, I like the leisure with which they are lying, the gorgeous, right? So I just felt like adding something flowy. Yeah, so please feel free to choose what you like. Some tipples here and there. Of course, if you have flux, they would be there. Right? So just fill in some tipple here and there. Yeah, I think we are done. A little embellishment, small little sprinkles, fescues, whatever you want to add. Always a good idea. Yeah. So we'll stop here as far as tangling is concerned. Give a border again. Yeah. So I'll start close. Take my line as a reference broadly, although the line is somewhere else, but depending on how much I have tangled, I'm just going to take a reference. Yeah. And then add little boldness again. So we'll try and do something lacy again. Yeah. So I will add another line, bold line. So apprentice size tiles are a little bigger than the regular tiles. They are 4.5 by 4.5, generally recommended for beginners, kids. Yeah, because of the size. I go back to my gorgeous all the time, touching places where it shows black. Yeah. So now again I'm switching nibs using a finer nib, probably 05, and add some fine lines inside. Again giving a woven kind of a look. Yeah, simple lines. Take your time. So once we are done with that, I am again going to give a slight looping inside. Remember, we learned looping, series of consecutive eek shapes, small looping to give it a little lacy look. Yeah, so this is the same stroke, however it is much smaller and much closer. Yeah, gives a nice woven look to your straight line and starts to look lacy. Looks like some thread work, which laces are actually. Yeah, so just add that fine looping throughout on the inside. I'm using my O5, it's a really fine nib. You can do that with your O8 also. If you don't have your O5 handy, that's okay. Just that it will be a little thicker. Yeah, so you can see there's a fine looping there. Now let us give it the laced look. Yeah, so I'm going to pick up my 10 again and draw 2 arcs just like printums, like this. Yeah, semicircle just like crescent moon or printums, whatever you want to relate it with. Very familiar strokes. So take your time and slowly add these half moon shapes with another shape inside, right? And now again I'm going to do the same looping throughout. Yeah, so take your time, I'll show you. Yeah, yeah, I hope you can see it clearly. Yeah, it's really small, right? But they add a nice texture and give a lacy look to your lines. So take your time and do that slowly for the inside loop and the outside. Yeah, you have to be careful about jelly roll. That's why I started from this side. Yeah, it takes a little while to dry up. You cannot put your hands immediately after tangling. So I'll quickly do this exercise and get back. So I am doing the inside loop in the same way as I did the outer ones. Yeah, so now the last thing that we are going to do for lace is, I think I missed one here. Yeah, put a dot in between and connect it. Yeah, so add a nice big dot and then connect it. Dot cannot be hanging in the air, right? So you have to connect it with a stitch, and that's what I'm doing here. Put a nice dot. There is a small space inside. I'm not inking it completely. Yeah. 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 So looks lacy. So now let us see what do we want to do in this section, right? So I'm just going to add some lines. We'll see if we want to give it a lacy look or we just want to go with simple tangles. Yeah, so I'm just going to divide it into sections. Double lines. Yeah. So let us first add a tangle called echoism. Yeah, so make sure give it 2 minutes to dry up. And I'll start with a tangle called echoism. It is again a Zentangle original and it is nothing but a series of cursive S's, preferably joined with each other. Yeah, and adds a nice texture to your tile and looks very lacy too. Yeah, so we have the option of using it as a lace or considering it as a Zentangle pattern. I have seen this pattern in laces also, so we have a choice. We have an overlap there, yeah. So again, this part I'm going to add some, again changing nibs to 5 and giving a lacy look here. Probably we can give a little more, a little longer one, like this. Make sure you don't put your hand on the echoism. Yeah, and then the next, again it is up to you how do you want to do it. So I'll just add some, no, not 10, use your 8 because I'm adding floors. So these are all going to look like laces only, however they are also Zentangle patterns, right? So we are practicing both the things at the same time, enjoying ourselves, giving lacy look to Zentangle, drawing laces at times, drawing patterns at time. Yeah, so simple, crisscross, again add those dots. As I mentioned, this is a very common filler and it is also a tangle. We use this very often in lace backgrounds. So take your time and add those dots at the intersections. Yeah, simple. Again, the third one, up to us. What do we want to do? Let us add some orbs. Again switch to my 08. So we are switching pens frequently here. 10 I am using mostly for my outlines and filling. Rest I am doing with 08. And then for the finer weaving I am using 05. Again, you can give it a nice lacy look by connecting the orb with the ends. You can use a finer nib here. So after you have drawn 1 or 2 tiles, you will yourself understand where to use 5, where to use 8. the filling inside, it's always better to use the finest nib. Yeah, again looks like nice lace. Yeah, and this section I will just add some knight's bridge. Yeah, so I will just ink alternate spaces just like a checkerboard. So we have already used a couple of patterns here, tangles. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so we are done with our tangling. Let us now move on to shading. Now you would wonder where to shade, what to shade. Well, it's always a choice to shade your laces, but I personally like it white. But make sure that after you have shaded, you touch the whites, because that's what gives laces its look. Yeah, so if you have grays on this white line, then please retouch it. Yeah, so I'm adding some thick graphite under this line. Yeah, then I'll add it on both sides of the echoism. Right, I'm sorry, again here. So you can see whether you like it or not, there is some graphite coming on the white, so you will have to redo those lines, right? So it's always a good idea. Then going to my gorgeous, the lower part. Yeah, so while drawing a tile, always make the tangles your own, give them your own personal touch. As I keep saying, you don't have to exactly do what I am doing. Yeah, so make them your own. That's why I keep calling them my gorgeous, my printums. Yeah, they are my version, right? So you are free to do it the way you wish to. Again, yeah, this is pretty thin, so I'm not going to go there, not going to touch there. Yes, I can touch here little, but not much, very little. Yeah, we don't want the laces to go gray, we want it white, so I'm not going to add too much there. So let's start to blend. I'm now blending. So don't want to add too much of graphite. Yeah, again blend the two sides. So I saw a video made by CZT Lim. She has also worked on laces. I'm not sure if it is her original concept. She got the concept, but I saw her video and really got inspired. I liked it very much, right? And that's how I thought of doing a series on it. So special mention for CZT Lim. Blending my gorgeous. Yeah, a little touch on the printums where you have added the weight. You can touch here also, right? And then we will use our chalk on one side of our flux, right? Yeah, and I will add chalk inside these loops. I will touch chalk a little bit here, not much, just to give a hazy kind of a feel, a cloudy feel inside. Touch a little here, not much, again for that high and low feel. Yeah, so let's start to blend. So pick up a different Tortillon and blend the chalk. So shading in Zentangle is again one's own creation, perception. How do you want to go about doing it? So you can see how the lace starts to breathe with that high and low kind of a shade. Yeah, so we have added some on the flux, so just soften it without covering the whole thing. Keep it to one side. Yeah, you can add a touch on your, just use your jelly roll and add some small little dots on your tipple if they are big enough. Yeah, you can add some chalk here, blend it. Yeah, then we've not blended the graphite here. Blend that, don't blend too much. Just soften it. We have added some chalk here, just a cloudy feel to what is there inside without spreading too much. Make sure you don't mix the tortillons. Keep them separate. Yeah, and you can give a slight highlights here in the center if you feel like, not too much, just a touch. Yeah, just a slight touch. So some of the lines that we would like to redo, again pick up your 10 and touch on this line after you have shaded. Yeah, touch on this line after you had added the graphite. Touch on this line, touch on this line. Yeah, so I don't think we need any more shading, but if you want you can add some at the ends. Just a slight, not much. Yeah, and just quickly blend it. So this outer lace is looking fine like this also. However, if you want to make it a little more intricate, you can always draw some lines inside. Yeah. So use your finer nib and connect these two with these lines like this, right? And they will look nice. Interlacing. So add these lines. Yeah. Fine lines again, interconnecting the two, adding to the lacy look. Yeah. So almost finishing there. So one more line that you can redo is this outer line here, because there is some shading on that also. At places it has gone gray, so just redo the line. Yeah, and we are done. Right, a small little tip for the day. This black adds to the look of the lace, right? So make sure when you draw lace, there are blacks visible inside. Yeah, so whether it is through your cuts or through the way you make the lace, right? So it is always a good idea, right? So this black really adds to the look of your lace. So that's a small tip from my side. Otherwise, you can always do the way you like it. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the tile for the day. I have already put my chalk, so sign and date it. Use your white pen only. Always sign and date it. Today is 17/4. Take a moment to appreciate your creation, and I shall see you again with session 2. Bye bye. Take care.